Hey, Jesse.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm off my ghetto phone, on my real phone.
Your Obama phone.
Yeah, I'm on my real phone that costs money instead of my ghetto
Nice.
phone.
Now you're clear.
But,
Oh, man.
but listen, Jesse, I got to tell you, I came across your church and you're bound. A few months ago, and I'm impressed with you, Jesse. And you've actually helped me. You really have. Some of your advice and suggestions with your silent prayer, I found it helpful.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much, Jess. But I got to tell you, Jess, you're on a couple of things. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Give me one thing.
Okay. What you do, Jess, and I think you're just being provocative, that poverty doesn't cause crime.
Right.
In a sense, you're right. Because when you were a kid and you're on the plantation and you had your gun, well, right. And you say you didn't have to kill your food and eat, blah, blah, blah. But see, just when you take a group of people and you concentrate them in a small area and under the conditions of poverty, it breeds crime. That situation itself will breed crime.
And what is, when you say poverty, maybe I don't understand what you mean about poverty. How do you define poverty?
Poverty is when people have just enough to live, but they don't have opportunity to improve themselves, and they lack hope. And when you don't have hope, you become impoverished, because you simply live within the means of what's given to you.
But there have never been a time in America, in the history of America, when blacks didn't have an opportunity.
Yes, you're right.
And there had never been a time in the history of America when they didn't have food to eat.
Again, you're right.
And so where's the poverty then?
Well, however, there's probably never been a time in the history of America where you concentrate people the way the government, and it's a plan. This is a concerted effort by the powers to be to take a group of people and concentrate them. And
I believe that. That's true. I believe that to be true.
This is not left to chance. This is the powers to be sit around the table, just like the corporation. And you can't have rich people unless you have poor people. Because if you have what I have, if you got the same car that I have, then I'm not rich. It's not until I have a car and you have a buckboard that makes me rich. Like, I've got a buckboard and you're walking. I'm rich because I have the buckboard. So somebody's got to walk.
Well, what was wrong with the blacks that they allowed the government to put them in those what do you call those things that they used to live in? They still live in. What I forgot what the name.
Public housing?
Projects?
Projects.
Projects.
What was wrong with the blacks that they allowed themselves to be controlled like that? Because, and the reason I ask is when my blood folks, and other friends I know moved from Alabama to Indiana and Chicago, they didn't end up in those projects. They bought homes, they got jobs, they bought homes, they started families, and they didn't end up in projects. What was wrong with those blacks who allowed themselves, because you can't even blame the government for that. All blame is on the individual, not anyone or anything else. What was wrong with the blacks that they allowed that to happen to them?
Well, there's actually nothing wrong with the blacks.
But why did they let someone else put them in a project and they stayed there like they were locked in or something? What was wrong with them that they refused to take responsibility for themselves as an individual? Because none of my family members ever lived in projects that I'm aware of.
I believe you.
And so what was wrong with the blacks that they didn't have sense enough to have self-control and not let someone do that to them.
Okay. As a people, black people are no more intelligent or strong or moral or lack of moral than any other group of people. When you were young, technology didn't allow the government to control people's information as quickly and as powerful as it can now.
But the blacks have been in the projects since I was a teenager. And so I'm trying to figure out, I'm asking you, Darren, what was, and technology wasn't around as it is today, even then, but what was wrong with them, the blacks, that they allowed the government to put them in projects and they stayed there?
What was wrong with the blacks is that they're human. Humans can be trained and conditioned to do just about anything. Once you control the information, blacks are no more strong or weak than any other race.
But they the one that make up all the excuses. They still begging and blaming like no other race.
You're right. It's when there's a concerted government effort and corporate.
Darren, hold on for me. Hold on. Let me take a break, all right? 888-7753-773. One more hour to go, folks. Hake is coming in with the hate news, not the fake news. I'll be back in a moment.